course, a huge thank you to Brooke, Tyler, and Rania for being our facilitators, and we're so excited to see where you all take this process. And to the design committee that's been with us for the last 4 nights, thank you everyone so much. More than just your taste in visuals and your and what you'd like to see in the space, we all are now ambassadors for what this project can be, and I think all of us know that this building could be something special for the city of Portland. So our charge now is to make sure that we welcome everyone into it, and truly make it a home for everyone. So thank you very much, and can't wait to see where this process goes now that we've equipped Perkins and Will with our values. We will get to know each other through this process and hopefully celebrate the creation of a beautiful, inclusive space together at the other side. Starting with just on the way they're oriented on my screen, Adam, Adam Edwards, everyone, is the chair of the Long Range Planning Committee at PCS and has been with the organization for the last 5 years, all the way since the concept of building our facility. Sarah is our operations director and oversees our programs and our program staff, and helped raise the money to build Portland Community Squash back in 2016. Sunday was one of our first students and recently graduated from our Junior Squash League program and is now remotely attending Simmons College. Chef Louis Pickens is the owner of Black Betty's Bistro and has donated a huge amount of his time to doing culinary education with students in our programs, and is helping us build the social and culinary component of our community. Zoe is with the New England Arab American Association. Is that right? Organization? Yeah, it's been a little while, but Zoe has been a cultural bridge for us as we've gone into work with families that are connected to her organization, and we want to make sure that her organization has a home in this future space and is heard throughout the design process. So we're excited to work with Zoe. John Whipple designed the conversion of the synagogue into what is now Portland Community Squash, and he is our resident architect, if you will, and is a really bright design mind through this process. You'll hear from Rueda, who's doubling as her daughter Soda with her name right now, but Rueda has 2 children in the program now and is a PCS board member as of 2020. Marion Freeman was a college squash coach once upon a time, but also a very successful business owner and a board member here at Portland Community Squash, and has helped us grow the organization in a very responsible way over the last 6 years now. So thank you, Marion, for being here. Elise is our facility and finance director. Elise and I really started the operations together when we decided to build a facility, and her daughter Audrey and her kids Delphia and Owen are a big part of our program. Tracy Reed just joined us, architect in Portland, has done a lot to help us understand our zoning in town here, and is an avid squash player as well. ASKAR AZEEZ is a member of Rally Portland. He's a style icon in the city of Portland and will bring a lot of great ideas and opinions to this group. Oksana is also a member of Rally Portland, and I think Oksana really found her voice through a writing program with the Telling Room, but she knows how to articulate the heart of our organization better than anyone. So I asked Oksana to join us to say a few words today. BAQER a high school student in our program, also a member of Rally Portland. Lorien Fish, a recent graduate of the Junior Squash League. She's studying American Sign Language at the University of Southern Maine. Adele is joining us. She owns Antoine's Tailor Shop downtown, and she is a fashion designer with endless energy to helping women in her community, and has done a lot to teach women how to break into the fashion world and manufacturing world here in Portland. Fatima, another outspoken youth leader in Portland, member of our youth programs. Farhia is a member here. She sits on a real estate committee, and her little brother Muhammad is a member of Rally Portland. And I think I touched on everyone, but it's not even an exhausted list. We also have school principals on this list, general contractors, and interior designers as well. So you have design as well as intimate knowledge of our organization, helping us design what will be the community commons at PCS, which is where this community can really gather and get to know each other over generations, rather than just passing in the hallways as we currently do.
I can say, Barrett, that this next slide, this is exactly why we feel so passionate about our social purpose projects, because we have the opportunity to work with such amazing people, and we learn so much through that experience. And as you said, I'm Brooke. I'm the K-12 practice leader and a principal at the firm. And my distinguished colleagues, Tyler, who I've done some great projects with, and RANIA, who I met at the GSD Black in Design Conference, Black Futurism, and she joined our firm and is very interested in our social purpose projects, and we are leading many diversity initiatives together. So it's our lead team with you here this evening.
Absolutely. Happy to introduce ASKAR AZEEZ. This first session is about why, and why do we choose to spend our time in a place like Portland Community Squash. And ASKAR, pictured here below, is a member of Rally Portland, but invests about 25 hours a week at PCS, year over year, season over season, 12 months a year.
PCS for me is a home place. That's why I always spend my time there. It's a place I feel comfortable, where I can grow. It really is a home away from my home, honestly. And I've just never seen any other place like it. And for me personally, I really like what they helped me through, like everything. Like over the course of 3 or 2 years, I really flourished and become the best version of myself.
The students are what inspired the shift in our mission, and wanting us to expand our mission from just being a youth development to a community development organization. So Oksana's been a real leader in helping create that youth culture. So I'll give Oksana the floor.
I spend a lot of time at PCS is because PCS is more of like a second family to me, and I feel like I've grown with them, and I've been able to make deep connections with each one of the kids and the staff. I know that there's a lot of changes that happens in life and everything, but they've always been there for me. I came here 4 years ago and started with them, and they've helped me socially get better with talking with people. And I was a bit shy when I first came, but then now I'm a whole volcano. But I feel like they've helped me become who I am now. They've helped me become stronger, more independent, and helped me, get through life a lot easier, because I always knew I had people to count on. So concerning academics, it's more of they help us get our grades up, and always want us to be able to always have options and opportunities. So they're always there to give us opportunities, whether we take care or not. There's always plenty of those, because we know that PCS and BARRETT are able to like give us a bunch of doors that we can always open.
So we learned so much from our kids, and that's how I began my remarks earlier. We're ready to take those lessons learned to our entire community. And one of the big steps we just did was we allocated $100,000 of annual financial aid to our membership program as well. Not only do we want this to be a place where our students can connect, but we want this to be one of the most inclusive spaces for their families as well, a place where the city can come together and form long-term relationships. Because Rueda, I'm basically a kid too, so we've heard from three kids tonight. I think it would be great to hear from a parent.
I got to know Portland Community Squash back in when Selma, my daughter, was in elementary school. I've never heard of squash in my entire life. I'm from Somalia. We don't know that squash. I didn't even know squash existed. But somehow, Brisam Scott Elementary School just sent me a package that says Portland Community Squash, and fill this application, and I did, and that was the best thing I did. It was really, it was amazing. The people we meet, the space, the programs they have for the kids, not only for educational, physical, emotional there for them. We connected. The warmness of the people when you go to that center is just amazing.
I do think it's pretty remarkable when the student programs are going on. It's like it's such an engaging place to be in person, and kids want to soak up all the time that they have here with their friends and the staff and the squash that they're playing. It's really like night and day seeing kids out in the wild versus kids in PCS. It's like it's really refreshing to know that that sort of space exists.
Our task was talking about members and membership. I think of the students as members, and I think of myself as a mentor and a volunteer, in addition to like a dues paying member who plays squash. But members, are in this sort of very stark term, are subsidizing programs with our fees and scholarships, primary source for mentors and board members, and are in a lot of cases through fundraisers and things like that, helping forge some of those relationships. But again,
how do the other programs at PCS impact members? Well, one of the themes that went through all three of these questions that Tyler helped us extrapolate was this idea of overlap. Tracy mentioned how she would come early for her squash sessions to overlap with the end of Raleigh Portland and Junior Squash League, just to sort of see them in the building using it and feel the energy there, and those informal interactions that come with that, either sticking around to socialize with other members or with the students. Elise talked about the idea of having members inspire and influence students through mentorship bonds or volunteering, and also vice versa, the students really inspiring the mentors, which brings them back into the building for things more than just squash.
So what do the role of the after-school programs play in the larger PCS community? Basically, in a nutshell, PCS sees students as young as 3rd grade all the way through high school, and then our Raleigh Portland program will support students through age 25. So year-round through the summer, we have summer camps for 4 or 5 weeks. And in non-COVID times, students are here every day after school and on the weekends. So our group talked about just how the students sort of are like the center of gravity or the heart of a lot of what goes on here. And the fact that we have students of such varying ages in the building really differentiates PCS from any other organization that we could really think of. And
okay, so what role does socializing play in the larger PCS community? it's a socializing where people learn from each other and come together and share their experiences, and they may be there for one thing or another, you know, whether they're there to do their homework or to, as a member playing squash, but they're in the same place at the same time. And this, you know, any socializing there is just really enriching everyone's experience, whether you're a member meeting young students or whether you're a student, like learning something from an older person.
For me, it's not so much what I bring to the workshops that I do, but what I get from the kids. You know, that's why I keep showing up. It's because, you know, the kids are so ready and willing and motivated that you just feed on that. And the love and support that you get from them, the knowing that how much they appreciate what you do, what you're bringing to them.
Yeah. On another note, we have so much to share, and currently we share meals twice a year as a whole community, but culture and families have so many more ways that they could express themselves. So KIFAH, do you want to talk a little bit about bringing art, music, storytelling into the space?
You know, like, because this is this wonderful community squash combined between movement, like sports, and also between art. Yeah, so many things to talk about. Yeah.
So many things, exactly. But KIFAH, one thing you did say was it's about balancing the learning with the fun too.
So this is session 3. What is going to be, as I said, learning about program needs, specifics about the common space and the expansion area that we're planning to build together. And from here, I'm going to turn it to Louis, Chef Louis, to tell us a little bit about the PCS Potluck and what makes that special.
Well, for me, what makes the potluck special is that one of many things is that I get to meet a lot of the participants, a lot of the youth. I get to meet their families that through the workshops, they tend to relate and discuss various recipes that we do that are similar to what their mom might do or the grandmother might do. And you know, and I think the thing that one of the many things you get from these potlucks is that the sense of community, in the sense, you know, of family, that everyone's in it together.
Yeah, Piers Freelon, thank you for being here, and we're great to have you. Of course, Piers Freelon is a musician, director, and a professor who was born and raised in Durham. He's a founder of Black Space, is a digital maker space at Durham, where young people learn about music and film and coding.
I just wanted to ask one question. I'll open up to the group. This, they have an opportunity to create not just an interior space, but create something that says something to the community in which this project sits. And I think you spoke to that a little bit in the Smithsonian Museum, but what do you think of that? And how do you think the kids would react and the community would react to seeing something that looks more like them and is sort of a beacon of something? What does that mean to you?
Well, I mean, you know, it's nice to be reflected in your environment, and you know, whether that's in the curriculum at school or, you know, in the physical structures and the music and the culture. So seeing yourself in a building or in a mural, I think is empowering. It's like having your humanity acknowledged and reflected.
I could go all day because I'm with you. I think this kind of community work is an art form in itself, and coming up with your identity as an organization as well. In Portland, we're in such a, you'll have to come visit us someday up here. Maybe you already have, but our ethnic diversity is really being discovered right now. We had a huge amount of first and second generation families start coming to Maine in the 90s, and Caucasian kids are the minority in the Portland school system in what is the whitest state in America. So it's going through an artistic and cultural renaissance up here. And there aren't, we were a youth-based organization that are graduating into a community organization that's trying to unite the families. That's what this space is all about. We have, the kids have taught us what unity and expression look like, and we're trying to bring that to the adult community here. So I'm often inspired by the fact that we're creating, we all come from different places and different cultures, but we're trying to create a new culture here in Portland. I mean, we're trying to define the future together, and so highlighting the people that are writing the future alongside one another, even if it was a multimedia display where you could almost explore different stories and hear people telling their stories in their native languages and translated, or to Alari's point, ways we can make the voices in our community come to life and be dignified and celebrated. And the other thing.
Welcome back, session 4 of 4. So we're going to focus mostly today on really learning about your preferences regarding design language. So this was coined the how session. Really, how do we do this? Well, all the things we've talked about help us understand why we want to do this project, who's going to use it, what's going to be in it. Now we want to talk about how we might actually execute it. So KIFAH, you can have the screen.
I'm going to talk about the Portland Community Squash, why, what makes this wonderful community special and in Portland. The first thing that Portland Community Squash honestly represents the diversity in Portland, Maine. And this is really wonderful, to gather different races, ethnicities, and cultures, and to put them together as a family, as a team, and to think together, to create together, and to imagine together, and to decide for the future, for the present and for the future. The second thing I love at your community is a different generation. You see that children, teenagers, and then you see that I say older people. This is really wonderful.
But we wanted to give a little presentation about how we approach design at Perkins and Will, and try to give a few examples of that at different scales. Our approach to design is really an integral one. And we think about it in these 5 categories, and all of them relate to each other. So inclusion, resilience, sustainability, regeneration, well-being. We think of these as the sort of 5 interdependent elements that we bring together in any design.